Greetings. Today I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about something that will be guiding us for the next 35 years. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro perspective for Sunday, May 10th. Happy Mother's Day as we think about mothering and creativity in general, right? How we bring life into the world. That is a perfect segue into my topic for today, which I want to look at specifically a very potent cycle that is in the works right now. It's the Saturn-Neptune cycle, and we just recently had our Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 20th. We came very, very, very close to a conjunction in 2025. It didn't quite pass that the exact degree in minute, but it came super close. So anyway, this conjunction has really been in the air for a couple of years now, and we are officially past it. And that means that we are embarking on that Saturn-Neptune cycle. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about why that cycle is so important, why it has significance and meaning and potency for where we are in this moment of what might feel like crazy making world situations right now. But to understand what is falling apart, what is breaking down, and what that means for what we can create for the next 35 to 36 years. I'm also going to be sharing with you later on some very exciting news about a new offering I have that has to do with my guided meditations, and I haven't been doing new guided meditations. Many of you know I have done them in the past, and I've been offering those recordings of guided meditations I made in the past. So stay tuned. Anyway, I will be talking more about that super, super exciting new phase in the bigger plan. And speaking of plans and creativity and new beginnings, really looking at, for all of us, to think about this Saturn-Neptune cycle. Why is it so meaningful? Why is it so important? In part, I mean, there are many layers to it, but one reason is because Saturn is the planet of form. It is the planet of how things become real, how the intangible becomes something tangible. So think about that in the context of a creative process, or, oh, I don't know, mothering and giving birth. Not that mothers are the only creative beings. I think we're all creative beings, but it's that creative process of bringing something into being that didn't exist before, just like giving birth. Okay, and Saturn is the planet that has to do with that physical form, with the physical presence of something tangible, something we can see, like a new human being or a new artwork or a new building that we just built, or, right? It's something tangible coming into being that didn't exist before. That's Saturn. Now, Saturn, of course, over time can, especially when you're talking about an older building, right? Or an older structure or something that has just been around for so long that it's really kind of outmoded. It has become brittle and rigid, and it really no longer keeps up with the times. So that is the energy of Saturn as well. It's the energy of how things must come to an end. So, so Saturn is that planet, that energy of how we come into being, we complete our life cycle, and then we move on, whatever that means, right? In the case of our human lives, that might mean moving to the spirit world, or, right, whatever that happens to mean. But Saturn is that process by which something comes into being, takes shape, becomes tangible, becomes something you can see and work with, and if it's a building, something you could go in and out of, right? All those things. And it's also about how those things come to an end. So all physical things eventually change. If you're talking about a mountain, it might take a very, very, very long time, but eventually all things that have physical form will change. So that's Saturn. Now, Saturn in its cycle coming together with Neptune means that that planet of how we come into being, or how we create something tangible, or how we build something that now we can see and use and work with and gives us structure. Neptune is the planet of the big picture. It is the planet of spirituality. So beyond physical form, it is how Neptune is how we can have a dream about something and it can feel real. And then we wake up and, oh, well, it was just a dream, right? It didn't actually exist. It wasn't actually a physical, tangible thing that I can take over to my neighbor's house and my neighbor can say, oh, yeah, I see what you see. No, Neptune speaks to that bigger picture of what is intangible. So it's what we can have a dream about. It's also what we can imagine. So our imagination connecting to that bigger picture of possibility, and how imagination might go beyond sort of what actually really exists, or what actually is really practical or realistic. Imagination, dreams, intangible, transcending physical form. The other thing Neptune can represent is our mythology. So it is how we tell that story about what it means to be human. And think about this is like something I think about a lot, right? So mythology is the story of what it means to be human. It's not the actual thing, but it is how we understand. It is how we connect that bigger picture of meaning, of dreams, of imagination, of vision, of spiritual truth, how we connect that to guide us in our day-to-day lives. And in the ancient world, mythology might have been like the stories you pass on from generation to generation, and those old myths. And you know how they have themes, and the stories might vary a little bit, but depending on your region or your family's traditions or things like that. But we also have this sort of commonality of, oh, we all know that story, even though we might have a different version of it. So how we tell our mythology in modern times is we do it through through media, through books, movies, TV shows, magazines, social media, memes, all of those ways that we sort of reinforce who we are and what we think and how we do things. And that's our mythology. That is our sort of guiding principle. So what is happening with this Saturn-Neptune conjunction and beginning a new cycle is that we have an opportunity to reimagine that mythology and see how to embody it on the earth plane. So in physical form, what do we want to imagine, dream, or connect with through that bigger spiritual picture, or that bigger picture of meaning, of truth? How is how we see that bigger picture maybe shifting and changing? And what does that mean for what we can create on Earth? So to get to the point here, the Saturn-Neptune cycle is the beginning of this 35-year journey in which we are bringing form, embodying new things that we can imagine, new stories, telling the stories in new ways, opening our imagination to new possibilities and telling new stories, telling the stories differently. So, how do we see that happening in our cultural narrative? We actually do see a lot of things shifting. So, we have much more now of a collective discussion about things like democracy, things like equal rights, things like feminism or LGBTQ rights, and just how humans are treated globally, on so many different levels. Not even saying, what you think is true or right, but just to recognize, hey, these are things that are getting talked about, and different people have different perspectives on it. Some people want the old traditional, like, let's have things in a way that felt like we had control because we understood how it worked. And other people are feeling like, no, I really want this to be different. I really want to see this more equal, uh, more fair playing field, whatever that may look like. So, there's obviously a lot of territory we could explore there. But the point is that the cultural narratives are changing. There is this beginning of this new mythology that we are stepping into, a new story. And this is the really important part is that how we create that story, what that story ends up like looking like, what it becomes, what shape it takes, what that Saturnian form ends up becoming is what we are creating together. So, in other words, it's not written how this will turn out. It is not written. We can't see, sort of the fate of humanity or individual countries or groups of people or whatever. We can't see that because we are creating it. So if we are the active agents of creating this future over the next 35 years, this Saturn-Neptune cycle says, if you want to embody new things, if you want to create new possibilities and see them take shape in tangible form, now is the moment to get involved. And so we have a Saturn-Neptune cycle. It's true that we always have a Saturn-Neptune cycle. We are always somewhere in that relationship between the two planets. But this one has not been at this particular degree of the zodiac, the 0-degree Aries. We have not had a Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries in over 6,000 years. And this was the theme, 6,000. This was the theme of my Saturn-Neptune conjunction series, my guest speaker series called Emergence, to really look at this energy that is so deep and powerful at this moment in time. And that, so having not had this energy at the very degree of the zodiac that is the very beginning, means that we really have this opportunity, this unique, precious moment in time where we can truly create something new. Aries is the energy of new beginnings, new life, life force energy, birth, and that 0 degrees is the very, very beginning of Aries, which is the beginning of everything. So that it's the beginning of the beginning, and it gives us the energy of the beginning that we have over the next 35 years to play with, invest in, create with, process through, and make choices in. So our choices, how we move through this next 35 years is just so powerful, so important. So we have so much choice within that. And so how we show up matters, what we do matters. Every little thing that you are doing to get yourself on track to where you want to be with your creative work, with your new initiatives, with the ways that you want to make a difference in the world, everything you're doing to do that, even if it's little, even if you can't see, the results or or any like progress on that just yet, um it's important because it has this extra oomph, this extra energy that is going to make it go. And Aries is also the sign of the warrior, which is courage. So finding our courage to be in our truth, to do what we're here to do, to bring new forms into being, to do that mothering creative energy of bringing new life into being. And it's also the energy of the Fool. So we have that need to try and try again, to take risks, to make mistakes, to fall down, just like that toddler learning how to walk. We're not going to figure it out unless we try and make the mistakes. We have to embrace our ability to make mistakes because that is how we learn. So that energy of Aries is also a defining feature of the next 35 years until the next conjunction in 2061. So, in other words, this energy is with us. It's here to stay. Not only was that Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 20th at 0 degrees Aries, but it is also at the apex of a rare outer planet triangle. And it has to do with the relationship of Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And it's about every 500 years that they come into this energy where Uranus has had its conjunction with Neptune, Neptune has had its conjunction with Pluto, Uranus has had its conjunction with Pluto, and they're all in that next visionary waxing phase of their cycle, and they're forming these sextiles that you probably heard me talk about if you follow me. The waxing sextiles, which is just a term that means there is support, there are open doors, there is wind in the sails. And so will we walk through those doors? Will we put up our sails? Will we take advantage of this support that is here from the universe? Take our risks, make mistakes, and figure it out. Will we do that? Or will we go, I don't know if this is going to work. There's too much going wrong in the world. I'm too frightened. I'm too worried about what's going to happen. If we think that way, we won't be taking advantage of this energy of support. So we have to, if we want to have this ability to create what we want, that's truly creative, that's truly bringing something new into being, then we have to work with this energy of support, find our courage, take those risks, and step into what we are here to do. And that's going to be different for each one of us. So, what does creativity look like for you? What is your creative work? What are the projects that are important to you? What are the things you want to contribute to? Where do you want to make a difference? What is important to you to see in the world? And how are you helping to make that happen? Even if you're like, behind the scenes, or some of my friends like to say, I just want to be the person who cooks for the activists. So like there's lots of different ways to contribute, and some of it is going to be showing up for your neighbors, some of it is going to be speaking up for what you care about, some of it is going to be showing up in a supportive role or as a healer, or there's just so many different ways. I'm probably missing a lot of them. So this is the point, though, is this is the beginning. And how we want to think about this energy of creativity, of creating the future, of bringing what we want to see into being is, and astrology has the answers, because astrology gives us this gift of ongoing cycles of energy that we can interpret to say, oh, here's what I should be doing now. So it's not, it's going to take 35 years, right? So it's not like, oh, you just have to do X, Y, and Z, and then it will all be done. It's a process. It is a long-term vision and goal. And every step that we take on that path to that goal matters. So astrology shows us what steps we should be taking when, where our focus should be, how we should think about our journey, our self-care, the next steps in our creative process, what kind of challenges we might come up against, how to meet those challenges. And some of that comes from your own astrology chart. And in your astrology chart, you have your own personal map, your own personal guidebook to what you're here to do and how to do it. It gives you answers, but of course you have to figure them out in your life too. So there's that beautiful combination of life experience and intuition together with the information of astrology that works together in a beautiful organic whole. But there's not just natal astrology, there is also these ongoing cycles. And so one of the things that we can use very purposefully as a powerful tool is moon cycles. And moon cycles give us this in-breath and out-breath, right? That rhythm of nature, the literal moon phases we can see in the sky, the new moon, the full moon, back to the new moon. So that cycle gives us a natural energy to follow. And we can set our intentions with the new moon. We can see what that brings, what those intentions bring to fruition, what kind of results we see. And that is the revealed with the full moon. And so when we're paying attention to what shows up around the full moon, that gives us information. It reflects something back to us. It illuminates what we need to see. And then back to the new moon where we get to start over, right? Set our intentions and start that next part of the journey. And each new moon, most of the time, there's occasionally one is repeated, but for the most part, they go from one sign, new moon in one sign, to the next zodiac sign, to the next zodiac sign, to the next. And so we have those different energetic qualities with each moon cycle. So the new moon is where we plant the seed, and we could do that in Aries, in Taurus, in Gemini, in Cancer, and so on with each moon cycle. And then those moon cycles build over time, guiding us through the Saturn-Neptune cycle. So the Saturn-Neptune cycle itself will have phases. It's just a really long cycle. So instead of every month having a reset point, we're going to be working through the process for the next 35 years. So we're going to be, right now, we're at the very beginning of the journey. But as we go through the years, we're going to progress in that journey. We're going to see progress in our creative path, in our way of making an impact, of making a difference, of creating things in new and different ways. So we have the dream with us right now, and we can have that bigger imagination of what we want for the future. But how we create that in real and tangible terms, how we build that in the real world into something that we can work with, see, step into, use, etc. How we do that is going to unfold over time. And so we can work with these moon cycles to do that process. And that brings me to what I want to share with you, which is my new offering, which is really an old offering that is coming back. And for those of you who were part of my Manifesting with Moon Cycles journey, you will remember that we worked intentionally with moon cycles to set intentions, had guided meditations to support this work, to support our healing process. And I had to take a break. So I have taken a break from Manifesting with Moon Cycles, and now I am starting it back again. And I am starting Manifesting with Moon Cycles as a group program again, because this time we're going to work with this Saturn-Neptune cycle, and we're going to see how that creative journey can look when we work with intention, when we work with illumination and insight, and the steps along the journey with each moon cycle, starting with a different new moon and going over time. So you can be part of this if it speaks to you. It's going to be really, really affordable, and it's going to be a group that I bring together. We're going to have a monthly Zoom call together as a group, and we'll have guided meditations to work with the new moon that you can use throughout the moon cycle. We're also going to have exercises and other ways that I will help you understand the opportunities with the moon cycle, how to work with them. And I'll also have an optional add-on where you can have a regular mini reading. So periodically, either monthly or quarterly, depending on which option you choose, you could have a mini reading sent to you from me based on your own individual chart and what is showing up at that particular moon cycle. So that's another option. All of this is available, and you can learn more at transformationalastrology.com. If you sign up now, you will get the Taurus new moon guided meditation coming up this week. So I'll be sending that out. And we're not going to have a group call until June because I got to get everything ready, but that is coming. So check it out, see if it speaks to you. Let me know what questions you have. I will be talking about it more here and at transformationalastrology.com. So as always, go to my member site. That's where you can find it, transformationalastrology.com. And on that member site, you can have a free account. So no charge at all to be kept informed, to have free posts sent to you, to get notifications on what I have coming up, what's going on, and lots of free content. Or you can upgrade to $5 a month and support this work, which is much appreciated. You can also upgrade to Manifesting with Moon Cycles level, $33 a month, and you can join these monthly Zoom calls. You will get the guided meditations and the exercises, and if you choose to upgrade from there, you can also add on the regular mini readings. So that's what I am so excited to share with you, because we're really going to take it to the next level this time. We are really going to take our inner work and translate it into the creativity, the ways of sharing our work in the world, the ways of being who we are, doing what we are called to do, because the world needs us to participate and contribute in the best ways that we can. So that is my intention. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, I am here every day with astrology for unshakable self-care. And I will see you at transformationalastrology.com. And thank you for subscribing. See you next time.